Hello and welcome to a lesson that proves that the pen is, or can be, mightier than the sword. Or is it that not all pens are created equal, or something like that? So what we have is a Benchmade 1100-4 tactical pen from Benchmade, as you can see, and I've said that already. So this is the stainless steel version, and now I go onto Benchmade's website, and it looks like I'm in that situation again, that I've got a discontinued product in my hands, a product that is probably still available. Well, it certainly is from where I get my stuff, and that is Blades and Triggers. But a stainless steel version of a knife that is still on their website, on Benchmade's website, that is. Benchmade have this, but in aluminium. And I got to say, I handling the stainless steel version a little bit, I probably would prefer the stainless steel version. So can only imagine that they've stopped producing that because maybe it just wasn't working commercially for them. But I quite like the extra heft of this one over the aluminium version. And I believe there was a titanium version as well, but I don't see that on their website anymore either. Right, so there's not too much to go through in terms of materials on this knife. I'm probably going to do that several times during this review. So let's try that again on this pen. Slowly, let that sink into my mind. But it is stainless steel. It doesn't specify that anywhere that I've seen what specific stainless steel it is, but a stainless steel nevertheless, and a stainless steel pocket clip and stainless steel torque screws on the back, and then inside we have a Fisher space pen refill that I'll speak a little bit about in a second. So let's go through some dimensions of this. And I checked the dimensions on Benchmade's website, and they speak about an open length and a closed length and so on. But I must say that none of the specs on their website make sense to me. The open length versus the closed length and the ratio between that just doesn't work. So I've checked this myself on this specific pen. And what I have, so closed length, so cap on, is 13.48 centimeters or 5.31 inches, and then open, the way I would classify it, is with cap off, and that is like this, unposted, in other words with the cap separate. That length is 12.89 centimeters or 5.07 inches, and then posted, and this knife this pen can post, so posted when you put the cap on the back of a pen. So that then is 13.44 centimeters or 5.29 inches. There we go. Right. And now, and then this, when it's posted, it is quite resistant to get that cap off. So let's put that on that side, and then I'm going to give a little blow on my dust-covered scale here. Right, let's get that on. Let's crank that up. Let's try crank that up. There we go. And what are we on? Ounces. So let's see the weight of this hefty pen. 3.2 ounces. I hope that means something to you. And let's go to grams. So 90 grams. So it is not a light pen. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to pop the old Parker Jotter on here and compare that, because I think everybody knows that pen. So 90 grams versus, here we go, 14 grams, and that is in ounces, 0.5 ounces. And then let's do another little tactical pen that I've got here, and this is the Mech Army tactical pen. Now this is in titanium, so that's maybe a little unfair, but there we go. 1 ounce for that, and 28 grams for that pen, versus the 89 grams on that. But as I said, I actually quite like the heft of of the pen. It feels good. It all sort of feels right for a tactical pen to me. This is quite light, and I'll speak about this pen in a second. So that does feel good in hand to me, and it is, by the way, beautifully machined. It really is a good-looking pen, as well as it being, a tactical pen. So that is a little bit of a self-defense type weapon. If you've got nothing else, let's get the Parker trying to steal the limelight there. If you've got nothing else and you've got quick access to your pen, that is a nice self-defense weapon. And this should be one of those forever pens that can take a beating, and you can put this on your go bag or get home bag or your range bag, or whatever you specifically do, whichever type of bag you carry or whatever kit you carry. It is the sort of pen that you can keep in there, and it's not going to be damaged. You can throw this into the bottom of your pocket. It's one of those type pens, and like I say, that heft to me feels really good. I'm gonna do an analysis on how the pen writes, because it's got, I mentioned the fact that it's got a Fisher Space Pen refill. So if you've ever written with a pen that takes those refills, it writes like that pen would. The only difference would be that this has a little bit more weight to it. So in terms of its quality of writing, that'll be based on how good the Fisher Space Pen refill is and which specific one that you actually use. What I will observe about the pen, though, is using it unposted like that, the balance of the pen is kind of good. It's probably got a little bit of the balance going forward, which is ideal when you're using a pen, so that you don't have too much weight on the back. I do tend to like posting, especially when it's, well, I shouldn't say especially, when it is a pen where you remove the cap. I like posting the cap on the back of a pen. It means that it's not lying around anywhere. It's always there. It's not this little thing that you've got to think about that you can potentially lose or knock off a rock or a desk, wherever you are using the pen. But with this one, when you post it, it does make the pen incredibly back heavy. Even if I put my finger more towards the back to give the front of the pen a little bit of an advantage, it still drops backwards. So when you write it, it does make the back of the pen a little bit back heavy. Now, if you quickly jotting down something, that's not really going to affect you if you're going to sign your name or whatever the case may be. But I think if you're going to be using the pen in this way for a lengthy time, it might probably feel, well, it does to me, it feels a little bit off balance to me, again, for what it's worth. The other negative thing I will say about the pen is the way that it actually posts. And you hear that nice click. The click in its closed position is a little weaker, or considerably weaker than in its posted position. And I think that should be the other way around. You want the pen to be more secure when it is actually posted, because that's when you don't want the pen to accidentally open, when it's in your pocket in that form. That's when you want it more secure. And this is the other way around. It's more secure when it's posted than when it's closed. The other thing is, well, let me just do this. So you can already see, and I don't know if that's coming across. So when it's closed, it's not tight. There's a little bit of movement and a bit of rattle there, and that's not the case when it's posted on the back. And then looking at the inside of it, and it's going to be really difficult to show this, so you might have to just take my word. So let's get a little bit of light in there, but you can see the little black ring inside there. So that's what's securing the cap onto the pen. And that's a little O-ring. And there's no way, and you can see, let me just light that again, while I'm talking about that. So let's get that light on there again. You can see how deep that O-ring is in the cap. So it is it's about there where my thumb is. That's how deep that O-ring is into the cap. And there's no ways, by the way, that's Cooper, the Bull Terrier. Okay, boy, Cooper, the Bull Terrier, who's adding a little bit to the conversation. We'll just let him speak in the background there. Coops, hey, it's my turn. Sorry about that. He is allowed to join the conversation. So it has the O-ring about that far down the cap. And there seems to be no ways of actually getting to that. So, it's not like the cap pulls apart or there's a way that you can get into the cap here. And why am I speaking about that? Well, because it's an O-ring. Now, that could be rubber or it could be silicon, but you've got steel rubbing on silicon every time you open and close the knife. That is, without a doubt, at some point going to start either getting a flat edge on that O-ring, or it could break over time, it could perish over time. And there's no ways of actually, easily getting in there to replace that O-ring. So while this should be a forever pen, it's not, because once that O-ring goes, that cap's not going to clip on to this knife. It's just going to be hanging loose. And I mentioned that it's tougher to post the cap on the back of the pen. And that's going to wear it out even more, because it really grips the cap that way. So yeah, that's not ideal. And I'm going to pull this pen, the one that I showed just now. So this is a Mech Army, and by the way, this is machined out of a solid piece of titanium. So everything on this pen is titanium, and that's why it's considerably lighter. So also that self-defense type tool. And you get a bigger version of that, by the way. So there's the bigger Mech Army, and both of these are my pens. I bought the little one, liked it so much that I ended up buying the bigger one as well. And these take Parker refills, so also very readily available. But the point I want to make here is that this pen posts and closes with a what do you call that? Yeah, that thing. The thread. Gosh, I promise you, I haven't been smoking anything. I don't smoke at all. I don't drink at all either. So, that was just a moment. But this opens and closes with a thread, and it's quite a thick thread. So, you don't have to turn the thing 300 times to get it closed. It's a couple of turns, and it's secured in its posted position. And then it has also a little O-ring. But you can see if that O-ring goes, well, it's a piece of cake just to roll that off and put a new O-ring on. And so it posts with a thread and it closes with a thread. Now that is a forever pen. That's never going to wear out. And the same thing, for the bigger version, it works the exact same way. So you've got a thread to open it and a thread to post it. So I just think that's a better solution, and I think that's where the Benchmade, in my eyes, it just falls short of greatness. Now, I've got the little Kaweco Lilliput as well, and that works the same way. Here's another nice little EDC pen that you can throw into the bottom of your pocket. This specific one made in copper, but you can get it in stainless steel and brass and whatnot. But the same thing. So that's got a little thread to close it and a thread to post it. And I just think that is a far better, like I say, forever solution. That's never going to wear out. You're not going to have an issue that, as you will with this, once that O-ring goes, this pen is not going to post. And I don't know how you're going to replace that O-ring in there. Good luck. There might be a way of doing it, but good luck in doing it. And that's the only negative on what I think is a really very attractive, good-looking, well-made pen. I think they've just fallen short of greatness. I don't know why. It wouldn't be that easy. You've done the thread on that portion of the pen, and that's to get to your refills. Why not just do the same thing to a little bit of thread there and there, and have that screw on, and then this would be so compelling to me. In fact, I would probably purchase this pen, because I really do like everything else about it. Something interesting I noticed as well is the refill itself. So it is, as I said, what is this? Where is it? So it's got the Benchmade wording on it, but it is a Fisher. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera, probably too much reflection, but it is the Fisher Space Refill. But it's got this back end on it that is, a Parker, a little Parker adapter. So I suspect, and in fact, I shouldn't suspect, what I should do is try it out, because I've got another Kaweco, and this is the Kaweco, also a pen that I really like. This is the Kaweco Brass Sport. Also screws in. Let's just undo this, because this has got a Parker refill. I want to try this out. I wonder if a Parker refill, there you go. I think that's going to work in there. And in my part of the world, Parker refills are more common. Parker style refills. That's got Mont Blanc branding on it, but never mind that. There we go. So you can actually use the Fisher Space Pen with the little adapter on it, but it will take Parker refills. So that is certainly very nice about the pen. So you can use Parker refills as well. Again, my only downside is that it clips on with an O-ring, and that O-ring at some stage is going to wear out, break, get a flat edge on it, whatever, and that is going to stop working as well as it does. And already, like I said, there's a little bit of play in that. Guys, there it is. How long can you ramble on about a pen? I'm just going to move out the standard refill to the one side. And that is it. Let's put that down that way so you can get another little look. Well, let's get it a little bit closer so you can get a look at that. So it is a very, very nicely made pen. You know, if that whole O-ring clip-on thing doesn't bother you, there's nothing else negative to say about it. Like I say, on this specific one, I like the weight, and if you're looking for something lighter, well, there's an aluminium version available to cater for your wants and needs. Guys, and I think that's it. I do have to say once again, thank you so much to Blades and Triggers for supplying this pen for me to mess about with for a while and form an opinion. I really do appreciate their support of the channel and for providing interesting things like this to me to have a look at. Check out their website, BNT Online, for this and other great products there as well. And then there was something else that I did want to mention on the pen and that I forgot now. As I was busy speaking about BNT, I thought about something that I wanted to mention on it. And now I can't recall. So, probably wasn't that important. Oh, maybe this. Guys, I really do appreciate you. It's quite important, I suppose. Appreciate your time swinging by, and I really would appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video, because as I always say, I really would love you to join me more often. And other than that, you go well and God bless.